This podcast is brought to you by Independent Building Advice. IBA acknowledges traditional owners of the land and waters this podcast is recorded on. If you find this episode helpful, follow us for more so we can continue putting out free value for all homeowners in Australia. It really goes a long way. Enjoy the episode.
Okay, welcome back to the podcast. We are today talking about property investment, tips on buying property and getting the best outcome for the house you're going to buy, whether it's investment for yourself or making the best option for you and your family. Today we've got Boston Cable on board. Welcome aboard.
Pleasure to be here, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much. And also always Riley is always here with us, whether he's behind the camera or in front of the camera.
Well, it's good to be back in front of the camera for this one.
You made the podcast look good, which is great. Basically, Boston is from Verve Buyers Agency. They actually go out there and source land, property, houses for clients. They've got a Boston person who looks after clients with $1 million portfolios, right through to people looking at building their or buying their forever home, living in it, whether they're going to renovate it, whichever. They give him the basically they give you their brief, what they want, you guide them, and then you go out there and hunt it down for them and find the best possible deal for them. Is that a good synopsis?
Perfect synopsis, mate.
Yeah, magic.
We get people at all different sorts of walks of life, whether it's buying their first home, buying their second home, or buying their 50th home.
Yeah.
And really it just does come back to what that purpose of that home is and what they're looking to do with that opportunity, and we just give them that guidance of what to look for, what they can expect, and finally helping them secure the home in what's been the most challenging market that we've ever seen in Perth.
Yeah.
To actually purchase.
How is it challenging? Walk us through why is it challenging and how is it challenging for someone like yourself?
Yeah. So currently in the July-August period, we're sitting at near record low levels of stock. Currently we're sitting at 3,239 properties on market.
Yeah, wow. That's really low, by the way. That's
Very
really
low,
yeah.
very low. When we're looking at a stagnant market in Perth for the amount of people that we've got living in the state, you're looking about 12,000 to 14,000 homes on market. And that's for a stagnant market, no growth, no negative growth.
Yeah.
We're at less than a quarter of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And about 25% of that stock every single week is selling.
Yeah.
So out of that 3,200 homes, 800 of those homes are selling over the weekend.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Well, so I believe that if the rental vacancy rate drops below 3%, you're in boom time.
Exactly.
And that passed that threshold years ago, and it's nowhere near close to today. It's amazing. It's a crazy storm.
Yeah, we're at 0.4% vacancy rates in 2021.
For those who are listening, what does vacancy rate mean?
That's a great point.
Yeah, so that's the amount of rental properties that are on the market, how many of them are left vacant and no one moving into them.
Yeah, okay.
0.4% of all of those homes. So for every 1,000 properties that are listed up for rent, there's 40.
So the reason why that causes a boom is that if the rental vacancy rates are low, that means that supply and demand, that means that more people need rentals, so therefore the rental rates go up, pay more for it, therefore the rental price will cover their mortgage repayments normally.
Yep.
So now you've got a positively cash flow property, meaning that your rent is higher than your mortgage, and then now you've got more people then investing, and then it creates a boom. Okay,
so that's a good sign for investors, like people who want to go look for new homes or build a new home and actually do that investment strategy.
Yeah, it's a leading indicator.
That's a good sign. It's a leading indicator.
Leading indicator for what's going to be happening in the property market. And when we saw that in 2021, that's when we started investing very heavily in Perth, which was what happened to be at the bottom of the cycle, COVID, those sorts of things. And that was just on the back of large amounts of immigration, large amounts of people wanting to live in Perth. Now what we're starting to see is a little bit of a pullback. We're not nowhere near the 3% vacancy rate. I think we're seeing about 1.1 to 1.5% varying.
Crazy,
yeah, so we're still not quite there, but as those numbers start to trend towards that 3%, that's when you start to get that lagging indicator that the property prices are probably going to start easing off. We've started seeing it in your outer suburbs, like your Mandurahs, Byfords, those sort of areas. Everywhere that's close to CBD, close to the coast, your vacancy rates and rental numbers are still
strong,
ridiculously strong. Yeah.
Now, just to clarify that in just a little bit clearer terms there, that because I speak to people all the time, and they go they hear an extreme. Yeah. So we go, the way I describe it is it's gone from insanely hectic, crazy, manic, insane building market or buying market, real estate market, to insanely crazy market. Like it's still ridiculously insane. Like if you go to a home open, any home open anywhere, and you'll see what I mean with the numbers there. And that's the thing though, I don't think it's gone from crazy to zero. It's actually come slightly off, but it's still amazingly busy. And that's the thing. When you look at these numbers, that's where you really get a really good prediction as to what's happening. That's what you guys need to look at and say, well, is now a good time, not a good time? Because you don't want to buy at top of the market, and then the market drops, and then you've overpaid.
That's the golden question, isn't it? What's going to happen?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's all people love to time the market and have a crystal ball and tell exactly what's going to happen. But even I didn't predict that. We went back up to about 5,000 properties on market. And I thought that was a bit of a trend. We're at 3,100.
Yeah.
And 89 was the bottom.
Yeah.
We went back up to 5,000. 3,189.
Oh, 3,100.
Yeah.
It was 89, but whoa.
89 properties. Not quite.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah.
No, so we were at below 3,200. We trended back up to about 5,500. I thought that was a bit of an easing of the market. It was very easy to pick and choose the type of properties that we were looking to purchase for clients.
Yeah.
We're actually having options. We're going through 5 properties with a client and saying, which one do you want?
Yeah.
That was really nice as a buyer's agent. Actually being able to have options and take people through homes. But I didn't anticipate that we would have a redraw now back to 3,200 properties on market. I didn't anticipate that. And that leads to very sharp upturn growth, very sharp short-term growth.
Yeah.
That over the last 7 days, we've seen about 0.5% growth in the total market. And that's just median growth.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous on a week-by-week basis. You compound that out over the year, you're looking at nearly 40% growth.
Yeah.
That's how aggressive the last month, 2 months have been, just due to the sheer lack of stock. Now, that's always typical of your July, August period. You generally see a bit of an uptick towards September, October, November, and then drop down again in December because everyone's doing Christmas, traveling.
They're
preoccupied with other things. But dropping back to these levels wasn't anticipated, and from all the agents and everyone I'm speaking with, a lot of the sales are still 2 months in the pipeline. There's not a whole lot launching this week. There's not a whole lot launching next week. We're looking 6 to 8 weeks in the future until we start to see another uptick in stock and another uptick in opportunities. It's just about how far the prices move from today to when those options actually come up. Are we better off buying in today's market and competing against 50 other buyers, or are we better off waiting 2 months to hope that the right property comes
Well, that's
up?
the strategy, isn't it? It's it's timing's everything. And you need, if you're trying to wing this yourself, that's where you need people like yourself that goes, look, this is the strategy. You need someone around that who's an expert to go now or no, or let's find you someone who's going to sell it, being a real estate agent, or you guys going, well, what's available? How can we snap up the right property for the right people? It's actually interesting though, because those numbers that are on the market, there's a lot of terrible properties out there in those numbers.
And they're selling now.
Yeah, exactly right. But if you look at it, you're going, well, okay, what are the really good ones? And that's if you, like in a lot of inner city areas where you look at people will go to those areas where they've got young families, because that's when a lot of people buy and nesting. Mm-hmm. If you have a home that's ready to go, like it's beautiful, it's amazing, there's no work that needs to be done, you are going to get an absolute premium price because that's sought after. I don't have to renovate it, I don't have to demolish and build. It's just ready to rock and roll. Mm-hmm. And that's where you get these massive prices at the moment, because people go, like, they're full bidding war. And everyone knows how busy it is. So everyone goes, well, we're just going to ask over the asking price and just make sure we secure it. But everyone else is doing that at the same time. And all of a sudden, you get, like, these people sell their house and they've got $500,000 or $300,000 over their asking price because it's this crazy world we live in.
It becomes a frenzy. And that is really a lot of what we're seeing at the moment. We're seeing a lot of people make mistakes, not only on that purchase price of overpaying on an asset that isn't worth that number. You're going to look 6 months in the future and you're going to be like, okay, our property's probably worth 1.1. We bought it for 1.3. Still not quite there. Yeah. That's a very large issue that you can make. Yeah. But not only that, people are just taking what they can get and buying compromised assets, whether that's on main roads, terrible floor plans, those sort of assets that don't sell when there's 12,000 properties on market and they sit there for 12 months.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing a lot of people just settle for. Like, for example, there was, I won't name the exact property, but there was one in Scarborough that has been on the market for about 300 days.
Yeah.
They had it listed from mid-twos.
Yeah.
Just last week, they placed under offer for 2.9.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I think that's, if you've looked at a property, got rejected, didn't get it, another property didn't get it, another property didn't get it, another property didn't get it, the next property is going to look like the sexiest property you've ever seen in your life. We've got to get it. We've got to, especially if it's buying for yourself.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, you're right. When the dust settles, you go, well, what do we just buy? We hate this house.
Yeah.
We've overpaid for it. So you've got to get someone like yourself who looks at it unemotionally, looks at the numbers and goes, yeah, this is a good buy, or no, it's not. Or at least guide your client to go, hey, this is what you want to spend. This is overpaying it, and just take away that emotional sort of level to it.
Because it is such an emotional decision that you're making. This is a home that you plan on living in for 10, 15, 20 years. It's so easy to make a small mistake that you'll get 6 months into this home and absolutely hate it. Yeah. And that's an expensive mistake to make.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with the largest financial decision that a lot of these people will make, they've worked their entire lives, they've gotten to mid-40s, 50s, and they're ready to get that forever home that they want to live in until they're 75, 80, and then they'd downsize. That decision in itself will make the biggest financial impact on their situation that they'll ever make. And it's bigger than your first, second, third property. Yes, you can make money out of those and they have their purpose. But that forever home, it's so important to get that right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually on that, so what's your recommendations for people to help them get that right?
Yep. So look, it's really just understanding that purpose. And the advice I'm going to give for someone that plans to live in a home for 5 years, a lot of people can have a $2 million budget, but that's not their dream home.
Yeah.
They can have $2 million budgets and they can be saying, okay, I want to live in Scarborough, Doubleview. I love these homes for now. I know that one day I'm going to want to be in City Beach, Cottesloe. I'm going to want to be in Floreat.
Yeah.
I deal with a lot of clients in that sort of interim period.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice area, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
on the beach in Cottesloe would be
Yeah.
That's the goal. And
Yeah.
if people have a game plan to get to that situation, I'm saying to them, it's not 100% about getting that perfect home, getting those perfect details, having the perfect dimensions to your walk-in robes, those sort of things. It's, okay, this property has a purpose. You've got a young family, you've got 2 kids, you've got a wife. You need that 4x2 on the full-size block. That's what you've worked hard for to live in. But this property also needs to serve you well as an investment asset.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be holding this when you go move into Cottesloe. You're going to be selling this in 5 years to facilitate that upgrade.
Yeah.
And then I look at it as a lens of, okay, we're looking at this as 50% investment. We're looking at this as 50% owner-occupier.
Yeah.
It's a very different conversation to, say, someone that comes to me in their 40s and they're like, Boston, we've made it. We want to live in this home for the rest of our lives. $2 million. Then it's 100% owner-occupier purchase. And even if that situation is, okay, we've got this property currently, it's worth 1.9. We can pick it up today for 1.95, but it ticks 100% of your boxes.
Yeah.
That's a recommendation I'm making because I think that this property is going to be perfect for your lifestyle and what you need.
Yeah.
It's going to have the school catchments. It's going to have the proximities. It's going to have the walk-in robes that you want, the ensuite, those sort of factors.
Yeah.
And it's a totally different lens to what I take as maybe I'd be recommending we target the R40 zoning, we target development sites or something like that has that added value and added land component.
Yeah.
Totally different conversation. And
well, it's road mapping your future, isn't it? It's like if I said, I need to get something from the shops, let's go for a drive. We hop in the car and you go, where are we going?
Yeah.
I just drive.
Yeah.
Where? I just drive.
Yeah.
I know you're going the wrong way. Well, how do we know?
Yeah.
Or, we hopped in the car, we've driven down the end of the street. Well, where are we going? I actually haven't worked that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, let's go for a Sunday drive. But why not have both? You're going, hey, look, don't just think about getting a house. Think, well, what's the house for? Is this a long-term, short-term investment? And the first question I always ask people is, how long do you want to live here for?
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's a different conversation if you want to live there for 12 months and sell it compared to the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But it actually doesn't take that long to work it out. And you go, well, is this our ideal suburb or is this a suburb we can afford?
Yeah.
And do we want to go another? Well, then what's the strategy to get there? And like you said, it can be dual. It can be a home for you to live in, but it can also be the investment, not just go to one way unless you're really sure that it's 100% going to be you.
Exactly. And those conversations trend very differently to if you're going to be living in that home for 20 years, I'm saying, do you like this? Whereas if you're telling me, Boston, I want to make the upgrade in 5 years, I'm telling you what you should be buying.
Yep.
For the people that are looking to do that long-term investment, owner-occupier for a long time, do you always just go the established route or do you have a lot of people come to you to build like a custom home? Like, does that happen for you?
In terms of someone that wants to live in the home for a long
forever.
period of time.
So if you're looking at their lifestyle and everything that they want in a home, do you lean towards like a build or is it just always established?
Yeah, and obviously it depends on their situation.
Yeah.
Look, obviously, some people love the character homes and those sort of styles and specific locations. And look, if someone comes to me with a $2.5 million budget and they want woodlands, but they want very specific features on the home, look, it might be a situation of, okay, it's currently a 3x2. This house was built in the 70s. It's not perfect to what you're looking for. You can make it work for a couple of years. Do a full extension. Knock it down, build, whatever it is. And that's going to be very case by case on what they're looking for and what their needs are. Some people love modern builds. Some people love new homes. I love new homes. I love modern builds. I love new features. I have a lot of clients that absolutely hate it. And it's really just getting an understanding of when they're living in it for a long period of time, what that perfect home looks like for them.
Just on that note, just a little plug here for us. On our website, we actually have a really good quiz that's really accurate. A quiz that actually says, should I demo or should I extend and renovate? I highly recommend, if you guys are on the fence, do that quiz. It's actually extremely accurate, the answers. Obviously, it doesn't beat us going out there and telling you, but we often have people go down and do the design for an extension renovation. Go, it's actually cheaper to demolish and build this home, or vice versa. So just a little plug there. But you're right. You got to get that home right. It might not be the perfect thing for you. But I think the lack of, I think what decides that a lot, Riley, is that the lack of product that's out there, you have to compromise sometimes getting the area you want, location you want, everything else, to then, okay, it's not the right home for us, but we have to look at demolishing or renting, demolishing or renovating, because it's not going to be the perfect fit for you. Beggars can't be choosers. If you want a specific suburb, specific street in a school catchment or something like that, and there's no stock, man, you're going to have to compromise on something here, because the chance of the perfect dream home comes up. And we've had people go, oh, can you find us a block of land? And we go, where? And they're very specific.
5 streets.
They go, okay, we found a block. We better, but the house 2 doors up, we don't like their front yard, so we want something else. Okay, here's another block of land for you. And you probably get this more than we do, and you go, I don't like that because, it's 3 doors down from a power line. Okay, here's another. No, guys, we can't keep finding your blocks because you're so specific, they're not going to keep coming up. I'm sure you get that all the time.
All the time. And in these suburbs, there's very specific streets that people want to be on, and people are willing to compromise on whatever it is and have very specific demands. I had a client last year, wanted 4 streets in Woodlands because her daughter lived on one street. She wanted the specifically west side of Jackadder Lake. And she wanted a 20-metre frontage because she already had a floor plan in mind. And we found her a block that was 19.5 metres frontage.
Oh, wow.
We had an opportunity to purchase it at 1.5. Off-market, pre-market, and she rejected it because it was 0.5 metres short, and then it went to market and sold for 1.76.
Oh my gosh. Funny you mentioned Woodlands. I was actually at Woodlands this morning, so it's just we're building a house in Woodlands. Actually, I won't say size. I won't say. It's not for me to say for the air. But no, we're building a great. It's one of my favourite homes actually. It's on all over our website, so you can work it out. But awesome home. But you're right. But on that, please, anybody, if you're buying in the suburbs, please do not choose your house before the block. It is first of all, every block of land, just on a design thing, every block of land is different, right? You with project building, here's a floor plan where here's a display home, buy that home and put it on that block. But if you got to look at soil orientation, levels of the block, you've got to look at, have you got a view, and view could be a nice backyard or a pool or a view of the city or whatever. And then you got to look at, basically what's going to be the best soil orientation for your block, outcome, lifestyle, everything else like that. To choose a house that suits you on a block, you're looking at your chance of you finding the right size, soil orientation, levels, the whole thing. It's crazy. You have to do it the other way around. You can get an idea of what things cost, but you can't be rigid. The one thing we can change is the house. We can't change the block. Exactly. So I feel your pain there. That's a hard one,
mate. And that was a tough client. I would admit. I would admit that was a tough client. And look, she had a floor plan in mind, and
I get it.
The floor plan was terrible. Floor plan was terrible, and this was an east-facing block, and the build's going to be totally different because she had the plans based on a west-facing block.
Wow.
And just had no compromise around that, and you're looking on 4 specific streets. They're all east or west-facing. The home build is going to be completely different based on which side you're looking at. But to circle back and look, even with people's borrowing capacities and those sort of things, it's really important for them to get location right and where they want to be. Recently, we had a client looking in Wembley. They didn't quite have that borrowing capacity to get to the mid-2s, high-2s to be able to facilitate that finished home that they're looking for. They've got one daughter, another daughter on the way due in October. And they have a borrowing capacity of about low 2s. They wanted to get into Wembley, into all the school catchments, location, those sort of things. we can get them a 3x2 that's in decent condition, or a 3x1. And I came to you to get a quote on an extension on that one. That was a few months ago, and it was actually a lot cheaper than I thought it would work out to be. And there's actually margin in those projects currently. And it's taking every opportunity on its merits that if their dream home is that $2.5 million product, but they've got a $2 million budget, if they can make that 3x1 or 3x2 work for the interim and then save up that cash in between, they've got very strong incomes. That's getting to a 2.5 to 2.8 standard. Once you do that extension and have that, once you have the character frontage in Wembley and then you have the modern extension off the back, there's a lot on Nansen that have been done that way, and they push into the threes.
Well, that's the thing though, is that you got to secure that property quickly, because that price stops going up for you. Because if you spend 6 months, 12 months and the price still go up, well, then now you're really behind the 8 ball. And that's actually something that we offer. So if someone has a house, they're really interested in, not just any house, they're really interested in the home, but they're not sure what the renovation or extension cost is going to be. We're happy to come out and have a look at it. We can give you a really good idea quite quickly in that meeting. Go, okay, well, new bathroom, new kitchens, extend, blah, blah, you're looking at roughly this, and they can work out if that stacks up. And sometimes we even say, sign up on it and put a due diligence clause in there, so you've got yourself a window, a week or something for us to look at it, so you don't miss out, and you can do that. But that's the scary thing, I think for a lot of people. Go, this house needs work. I don't know how much it's going to cost. It could cost a lot, and if you get the wrong person in there designing it, it will definitely cost a lot, and you could have done it more efficiently, which is what we're good at. But you get to the end bit and you go, it's too scary, let's not buy it, but it could have been an awesome purchase for you. And that's that must be your frustration. Do you find you spend a lot of time trying to explain to clients that their budget doesn't fit the suburb, and try to educate them that you probably have to change your mindset and think a little bit further out?
100% all of the time, because people in these situations where they get themselves to a position where they're able to spend a lot of money, they're looking at 1.8 to $2.2 million borrowing capacities. It's a lot of money, and they've spent their whole lives getting to that position where they're like, okay, we're ready. We're upgrading from our 800K home in Aloo. We've got the equity, we've got the cash, we've got the borrowing capacity to be able to facilitate this. But they were making those decisions 12 months ago in a totally different market. And what they were looking at 12 months ago is totally different. And it's just getting an understanding of what's important to them in terms of, is it that specific location that they need? Or is it that home? And what suits one person is going to be totally different. That if you're coming to me with a $2 million budget, but you specifically want to be in Scarborough, Doubleview, those sort of areas, you're probably going to have to compromise on the house a little bit. If you're willing to go a little bit further north, then it's the other way. We're focusing on the house and getting that right. Location probably isn't the 10 out of 10 that you're looking for, but we're getting that 10 out of 10 home, and that is going to vary based on how much time you're spending at home. And if you're working from home, those sorts of things, versus whether it's, I want to travel 5 minutes for work.
Absolutely. And then, but it's also, I think in WA, a lot of people struggle with keeping up with the Joneses. I want to be in this suburb, I want to have this, I want to have the latest car, the whole thing. And if you can afford it, great. But a lot of people don't. They're just trying to keep up with their friends. I remember when all my friends, who, this is going back quite some time ago, they're all going to buy, and they're all Western suburbs, and Netherlands, Claremont, and go, babe, when I buy my first house, I can tell you now, I'm only going to go out to like Wembley. I could probably do Wembley. Maybe Netherlands, maybe that dodgy area, Netherlands, whatever. And I'm there going, you have no idea what things cost. And then eventually they all bought out in Bayswater and Ellenbrook, and going, when they finally got around, you go, how much can I borrow and what can I buy? And then now Ellenbrook would be desirable for that. But this is going back, a couple of decades ago. But the point is though that what people think they can do and what they can afford, and especially in this market, that I see so many people trying to buy in at this market. This is the price. I'm not going to pay any more than that. But other people have been missing out on property, so they're going to pay more. And then all of a sudden, where you think it is, or what the house 2 doors down sold for, and what it really is very different. But I've just to change subject slightly. I do think a good strategy for people is that if you really want to live in a suburb, that you're absolutely passionate, you want to live there, you want to send your kids to a particular school, and you just can't afford to live in that subject. I want to run this past you. Your thoughts on this is, I think often what you're better off doing is not trying to buy a home, because you're just going to get disappointed. right? You know, or if you buy a house and you're going to build and you can't afford all the great stuff that you want, is change your mindset. And that is buy in the area you can afford, do an investment, great property. You might buy a house that you can subdivide and put another property or something like that. Use your money for that and then rent in the area you want to live. Still live the lifestyle you want, but at least you bought in the market. Turn that over, do whatever, do some strategic investing that way, and then when you might buy that and then buy another one. When you've got enough money, you can sell all them and then buy in the suburb you want. But I think if you're doing too many compromises that, you got in the suburb, but man, your house is crap, it's falling apart, it's leaking, but hey, you got in the suburb, you're going to be a slave to your mortgage, but also you're not going to like what you've got because it's not quite the dream. So you're better off flipping that. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, mate, and it's a tough piece of advice to give to someone that thinks they're at that level to say, I'm ready to get into this suburb, I'm ready to get into these locations. If you're not quite there and you're not getting that 10 out of 10 home, if you're planning to live in it for a very long time, exactly. There's 1,000 different strategies and it's going to be very case by case. And it's just understanding that purpose of the property, that if you're looking to just get into the suburb for the sake of it, but you know that you're not going to be happy in that home forever, don't do that. I did this very recently for a client and he had a decent inheritance come from his mother, was in a pretty good situation. You'll probably know if he listens to the podcast that he is. Yep.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah. And he came to me and he could push to the top of his borrowing capacity. He's on a very good income. His partner works currently. They don't want to be working those jobs forever. He's mid-30s and he could stretch. He could just get into Woodlands where he wants to be. And I said to him, mate, you're in a situation, you would be at the end of your borrowing capacity. You would have to sell your other two homes, your Innaloo investment property and your Mandurah investment property, to facilitate this purchase, to have the cash to be able to do this. Why don't we go buy something in Balcatta, 800 to 900 grand. You can renovate it, flip it, on sell that, you pocket 300 grand more cash. Then you use that to go buy something and carry up comfortably. Maybe sell your Mandurah investment property, keep your Innaloo one, keep Balcatta one. And you're in a much stronger position that way. You're spending the same amount of money, but you're in a much stronger position financially to set yourself up and you've got stronger assets behind you. And that may facilitate another jump that if that's needed down the line, I think you'll be comfortable with where you're at and what you can buy.
You would never buy your own place. When you get a taste of that, you go, well, what the hell am I buying my own place with? My neighbour does a lot of investment stuff, which I didn't actually know until recently. I went, you look familiar. And then I realised that similar, but she does a lot of investment stuff. She's renting her place. She's doing really well. But, you'd never know. Like, she's got a great house. It's next door. It's the whole thing. But she's renting because she's using her money for buying property. It's a different way. Like, it's rentvesting,
Yes. So rentvesting is a really hot topic at the moment, and again, it's just different situations. It's
walk us through rentvesting.
Yeah. So basically, if you want to live in a specific suburb, can't quite afford the mortgage on that property. Look, if that home in that area is going to be $3 million, your cash flow on that and just holding the asset and taking a debt position of $3 million is going to cost you a lot of money to hold, and your interest rate on that's going to be 5.5 to 6% currently. What those properties are yielding for is about 2 to 3%. So say $3 million home, your interest repayments on that, let me work that out, about 1,800 to around 100 grand.
Let's fact check that at the end of this.
No, I'm probably really far off, but you compare that
it's
to
a lot.
You compare that to what you can rent that same property for.
Yeah,
it's going to be a lot cheaper, and you're living in a suburb and a location and a home that you're comfortable with. But comparatively, that $3 million in an investment asset can generate you and make you a lot more wealth.
Yeah.
And whether that's for tax incentives, those sort of things. And it's really just breaking down that strategy.
Yeah.
Look, obviously renting probably isn't the long-term plan for a lot of people. A lot of people's game plan is to pay off their debts, have their
Australian dream, own your own home. You've over 30 years got your own home. That's the
Australian
because you
dream.
can retire and there's no living costs associated with that.
Yeah.
Very minimal living costs associated with that. Yeah. Once you own your own home outright, you're able to live in that. You've retired, you're 65, and you don't have huge amounts of outgoings.
Yeah.
And then you've got the passive income coming off your investment properties, those sorts of things. That's the dream. That's the Australian dream.
Yeah.
But through your 20s to your 60s, there's no reason you can't rent your property and utilise that $3 million of borrowing capacity to go buy commercial sites, go buy development sites where you're able to get outweighed returns on your investment. If you're looking at development sites, there's no reason you can't make 50 to 100% in cash on cash returns.
Yeah.
Which you're just not seeing in, yes, your primary place of residence is going up by 6 to 7% annually.
Yeah.
But if you're able to turn that around, scale into multiple development projects, use the tax incentives off the back of those, you're able to scale your portfolio a lot quicker.
Let me just dumb all this right down for everyone, just in case, because some people will be following you 100%. What it is basically, if you own your own property, and let's say you have $1 million, this is making $1 million mortgage, right? All your money's tied up there. Let's say it's the maximum you can borrow is $1 million. You own your own property. However, you're now making all your repayments for that property and you're a slave to that $1 million mortgage, right? And depending on what your income, you might be able to afford it. Easily, might not be able to. But then if you go the other way and you still have $1 million to borrow, but you're renting your property, which means you've got no debt on your property, that frees your $1 million up to buy other property that's out there or whatever you need to see value. That's going to give you a better opportunity because you're not emotional about it. You're not trying to fit into a suburb that you want. You now might have $1 million. You might buy a property that's got a okay home at the front that you can subdivide, sell the back block off, use that money to pay for the front block. Plus, you can rent that out. Now you're getting a rental income from that, which is now going to help your borrowing capacity again. You'll still have your own home that you're renting, and you can then use that money as more strategically to get a better outcome, and that might be building and holding, building and selling. And I said to people before, if you fast track this, imagine 10 years from now, you own 10 properties, you're all getting $500 a week rent from all 10 properties, and you've got no mortgage. It's not a bad life. Yep. Right, and you live like that. That should be your ultimate goal. Who cares if you're renting? You still got the lifestyle that you want, and it's just trying to find the right area. So we personally had a situation similar to the market now, but what it was is that we had a house that we built, loved it. We designed it pre-kids, totally wrong for kids, but we thought we had kids that told us, this is perfect for kids. We're going to have this awesome party lifestyle while we live in the home. The kids would just stay at home and go to bed while we go out. Totally naive, right? Yeah. Anyway, built the home, loved it, awesome home. When the kids were about 5, we went, we've got to sell this, it's just wrong for the kids. Put it on the market, and I thought, do you know what? We've got time, okay, so we'll get, someone buys it, let's say 30 days of finance, then we've got 30 days of, maybe 21 to 30 days of settlement. Okay, that's cool, we've got a couple of months, then we can find a place in the market, the whole thing. So anyway, sold it 3 weeks in the market, cash deal, it's the highest in the area for the time. Bang, went awesome, took the deal, great, signed it up, and the agent turned around and went, right, you got 21 days to get out. I went, oh, cash, didn't think about that.
Didn't read the settlement date.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what have I done? And then all of a sudden it was like, we've got to pack our stuff, find another property. Yeah. Now, I rang the local school, because I go to the local public school and primary school, and the public school, well, yeah, we're full, and we will kick you out of the suburb if you move out of the suburb. We've gone, oh, we're in trouble here. Yeah. And then I looked around and there was nothing available on the market except for one house. Yeah. And of course, I build and renovate homes. I've gone there and got this Californian bungalow front, beautiful. My wife's got, I always want to renovate one of those. I went, okay. And I looked at it and go, this is a nightmare to renovate. This is going to be like, these people who bought it who renovated it in the 90s went, how can I do the cheapest, nastiest renovation possible? And they achieved it. They did a great job at making it cheap and nasty. I've gone, when we renovate this place, it's going to be a nightmare. Anyway, we ended up talking them into that. It was on the market. We talked them into us renting it. Can we rent this off you? Because I want to find something better. We're there for ages. Nothing really came up. Everything's getting bought and sold. My suburb is very small and everything gets, in any market, goes quickly. And my wife just chipped away at me about buying it. And then eventually, okay, let's buy it. And we both agreed we bought it. And I own that now. But 4 or 5 years, or probably 7 years now later, we're finally getting around to actually renovating it. And
you're still living there?
We're still living there, yeah, absolutely. Like it's our house. The kids love it. And the house is good. It's 2-story. It's a good house. We don't. The kitchen's too small, but really we're happy. We live pretty basic means. Yeah. And then now we're at this point. We're going to renovate it, and my wife's going, "This is really hard to renovate." And I'm, that's what we've been saying this whole time. But the point is though that we were put in that position where there was no other options for us. Our kids are in the local catchment area. Yeah. What we could have done instead was go, let's just find a rental in the area, live there, and then sort ourselves out. And that's sometimes what the point of that is with Rentvesting or whatever it might be. If you are after your dream home, that might be an option for you to buy somewhere else, get more money and then come back. The other thing behind that, or it might be that your full strategy is, no, stuff this, I don't need a home to live in, it's just a commodity, and then use that money wisely.
Well, Boston proposed this the other day where we'll get a bunch of our mates, and now this might not target like 35, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds who are looking to do their forever home. But if you're a bit younger and you've got some time against you and you're looking to get in the property market, go buy a mansion or go rent in a mansion with like 7, 8 of your mates, hang out in that one place, and then go buy properties.
Yeah.
Do you want to dive into that?
I've actually literally done that.
You've done that before?
I actually live with 8 people, and they're all really strange backgrounds, but that's a whole other story. That was a party house from hell. But
but to me that makes sense. You know, like if you can split the rent on like a decent home, you know, you're talking about a $2,200 rent on a week. Split that between your mates. It's cheap in rent, right? And then you go buy a home and actually make the investments in those properties that you own, and just live somewhere a little bit cheaper. Yeah,
just check that legally of how many people can rent in a place. Legally. I found out years later that I was paying, because we were doing it room by room, and I was actually paying the most, but I was never on the lease, although they lied to me. But it was an interesting group of people in that house, that's for sure. But,
you can get in trouble that way. You can get in trouble that way, but it's
a great idea. It's great. Yeah. Split the cost, live your life, and then use the money.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking at currently. Like, look, I own 2 properties, and I'm looking at it as a situation of I'm in a smaller property. I can rent it out for $650 to $700 per week.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping me from going and getting that $650, $700 per week and putting that into a rental where I'm probably more comfortable in a nicer home. If I'm putting that towards a rental property, say $700 a week, anything below that for me is free money, essentially. That if we can find a $2,500 per week rental in Peppermint Grove, in Cottesloe, in City Beach, one of those
areas.
We
saw one from Dalkeith the other day. I was like, that's like crazy.
Yeah, wow.
To me, I've never thought.
Proper mention. 6 by 5.
Yeah.
$2,200 per week, 12-month lease.
Amazing.
And I was looking at that, and we split that 5 ways. That's $450 a week each. We're living in a huge mansion, in opposed to I'm currently living in a 2x1 in West Leaderville.
Yeah, it's hard life, man.
Oh, yeah.
West Leaderville, terrible area.
Yeah, terrible. It's actually a great area.
It's my favourite area.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I just walk down the road and there's like 5 different cafes. But you just get to make the pick. You're like, all right, will I turn left or will I turn right today?
In the morning.
You're standing at the intersection, you're like, geez.
Yeah. West Leaderville, I lived in West Leaderville just near JB O'Reilly's years ago, and you're right, there's so much to go for West Leaderville. What I love about West Leaderville, and probably for you as well, you're so close to the freeway, you can get in and out, north and south. It's great,
Mate,
great suburb.
I work in Subiaco, so I can walk into work some days when it's not raining at the moment.
Yeah,
can just walk in the summer as long as it's not too hot. I'm going to get too hot and bothered.
You're at home, I've got 30 seconds to my meeting, I've got plenty of time.
Yeah, just jump on a jog, it'll be fine. It's about 1.2 kilometres to my office, and for the lifestyle I'm living currently, it's fantastic.
Yeah, imagine.
But I then also look at that City Beach property, and I'm like, geez, I would actually love living with 4 of my closest mates, paying less, and living in a mansion with a pool in City Beach where I can not walk to work, I can walk to the beach.
Yeah.
That sounds like an incredible lifestyle for me, and that's actually going to save me money.
Yeah, that's great.
From upgrading my living situation.
Yeah.
And it's a strategy that not a lot of people look into, because I think they need to own their own home, they need to live in that, they need to do this.
Well, that's what you're taught by your parents, and you look at your parents, they've owned their own home, they pay off their mortgage, they've made it.
Yeah.
It's
obviously very different once you're married, you have kids, those sorts of things. Riley has a dog.
Yeah.
You've got to compensate for those sorts of responsibilities that you have later in your life. But I mean, at our current stage, it actually does make sense to do that rentvesting process.
100%. And that's where you got to stop.
Yeah.
Rethink about it and go, well, is there a better way of doing it?
Because we've got time on our side as well.
Yeah.
We have enough time to kind of go through those booms and busts of the market.
Yeah.
If we can just hold on to it, have the right mindset, time is on our side.
Absolutely, and you're in a position where you can risk it. You've got you're not married to the mortgage. You don't have a family. To relying on you. But I think that's a good strategy. Although on that though, you've got to pick your friends carefully. Like, I've got some really good friends. Some of them I can't travel with. Some of them I can't live with. Again, some of them I have tried living with. And go, oh my gosh, you got to make sure you got the right people, because you can have mates you can go to the pub with or have a coffee with, have a chat. But living with them, totally different things. So,
mate, I've got a lot of mates that I wouldn't like to spend more than 2 hours with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's going to be a situation that finding that right group of friends to actually live with is probably a difficult conversation. There's probably people I'm not as close with, but I prefer to live with them over my closest mates.
100%.
Yeah. And that's
you see them every day. It changes the relationship a lot. Absolutely.
100%. And there's a fine balance in that, and there's probably a few things that would look to work through before committing to something like that. But I think that'll be a great
absolutely. I think it's great. But I think rentvesting is great. I mean, I've used the analogy before. I said on the podcast before that if this pen was orange or red or green, but it's going to make you a couple $100,000, you don't really care what colour it is. And that's the same thing as the way you got to look at property if it's not your primary residence. And that's where I think that renting, using, if you don't have a lot of money, a lot of disposable money to actually spend or borrow, and your borrowing capacity is limited, if it's not your own home, then it frees you up to then go, okay, well, where should I buy? And it's crazy amount of people I've spoken to about investment that they've gone, okay, we're going to do an investment. It's not for a home for us to live in. Okay, I want to do it in this suburb, and I want it to be this, and I need to have a spa bath, I need it to be this colour, and going, whoa, it's not for you. And they go, yeah, but I want, no, it's not for you. Like, in fact, you shouldn't have a say, and I'll explain to you what to do, because you're building it for you, and it's not what you want. We had a lady once do bright pink overhead cupboards in her investment. And go, are you living here? She goes, no. I thought, well, you are. You're narrowing down the gender pretty tight there. Yeah. And even a lot of females I know don't want bright pink overhead cupboards. So, what do you, like, you've got to think not about you. I'm sure you can do that all the time.
Yeah, and people come to me for investment properties and they've listened to a podcast or they've seen an episode and they're like, this is the hot suburb to invest in. But you're not getting the right opportunities. When I'm dealing with investors and I'm dealing with people that are just trying to make money out of property, it's always going to come back to the specific opportunities that come up. And even for myself, I didn't plan to buy my second investment property, but I got sent a property that was such a great investment and such a great purchase price that I just said I'd make it work. I'd make it happen. And that's going to set me up really well. It wasn't the area that I was looking in. It wasn't the style of property I was looking in. It's not something I'd recommend for people to buy. Yeah. But it's at the right purchase price that fits my situation and what I need to generate me equity and make me money. And that is a lens that not a lot of people take in the investment space, is taking a step away from it. Okay, what's the plan for this to make me money? They just get caught up in, this is what my barber told me to do, this is what the Uber driver told me to do, and this is what my cousin...
Yeah, 100% they would know.
Yeah, this is the area that my cousin said was going to boom and go up by 120% next week. Yeah. And a lot of people get caught up in that, and it really just comes back to what you're actually purchasing a property for, what price it can get to, and how it's going to get there. Yeah. That's going to be on such a case-by-case basis that, mate, I could send you the perfect investment property, but it's $1 million overpriced. But it ticks every single box that you're looking at for due diligence, what you're looking at for suburb growth, demographic, those sorts of things. And I can send you the worst investment property you could ever think of, zero land content, those sorts of things, but it's $500K under value. I know which one I'm taking. Yeah. And that is something that a lot of people distance themselves from, to say, oh, it's a unit, oh, it's an apartment, it's this. Yeah. My grandpa told me not to touch those. Yeah. So it really just comes back to what you're buying it for.
Yeah, well, I agree with all that. The apartments, I think you got to be very careful with. 100%. Because if you're buying one of 50, I very rarely have met someone who's gone, that was the best investment of my life, unless you're the people who actually built the apartments. But that's the one there, because just for everyone at home, the land goes up, the house goes down, or the house goes down in value. So if you're buying an apartment, you're buying one portion of that whole area. But everything else, but I'm not saying apartments are bad. Yeah. Just be very wise and get the right information on what you're doing there, plus all the other hidden costs with the,
strata different outgoings, those sorts of things.
I guess for the time for the podcast, probably one thing that this sort of question we'll finish on, I think, and I was just thinking about it then. So you're out there in the buying area. Now, obviously, with buying buyer's agents, that you guys have strategies that you're actually going to skip a lot of the market, trying to find properties that aren't even on the market now. It's going to give people a huge edge. But let's have a quick chat about different things that people can do to actually move the needle in their favour to actually win that property over their competitors when they're trying to get it. So I'll start it off, and obviously offering them more money helps. And in our second podcast, I actually cover this in more detail if people want to listen to it. But first is talk to your partner or whoever. What do you want? And we're talking about forever homes here, by the way. But if you're looking at buying a place, work out what you're comfortable spending, right? Obviously, you don't want to spend anything, but what you're happy with, you're going to have a good lifestyle, everything else like that. And then if you stretch yourself for the world's best property that, every time you see it, you cry. It's, oh my God, it's beautiful. And, it's awesome that you see that property and you go, wow, that's it. But that's our stretch limit. I say in that, work out what those two things are. Because then when you have a good game plan first, you go, okay, now when we see it, we can buy it. Or say no to it because we can't, right? And I think if you do that, talk to a bank, and try and get your finance in order as much as possible. So that's going to hedge you. That's sort of my thoughts on what gives you the best sort of advantage. What are your thoughts on other things that people could do?
Yeah, so setting yourself in this market is very difficult when you're looking at, especially at the competitive price points. So your 1 to 1.5 million or your 500 to 1 mil. Those price points are so competitive that at the moment you're getting 10 to 12 offers on each of these properties, and without overpaying on these properties, it's very difficult to set yourself apart. Now, what I say to all of my clients is, how are we going to set ourselves apart in these situations? And it's really just understanding what the sellers need. Look, just last week, actually the day that I got back from Europe, it was literally the day that I got back, and how I set myself apart as well is I buy a lot of properties off of these selling agents. That's why I deal in the same areas, because I bought 10, 20 properties off of the top agents in these areas that when I say to them, what do I need to do to get this deal done? Yeah, I've dealt with them 10 times before. They're very transparent with me and let me know what's going on.
And they want the deal anyway, because they get a commission. If it's slightly less or more, they don't really care. That's what the sale, right?
And I make that process as easy as possible for them, because this isn't the market to play hardball. This isn't the market to dictate the pace as a buyer, because if you're being that person, why would they sell it to you? They'll just go sell it to the other 11 people that have written offers at the same number.
Yeah.
So what actually happened with that was we just had 20 days quicker settlement, same conditions. We had a $5,000 bigger deposit, but we offered $13,000 less, and we weren't arseholes.
Yeah, yeah.
And we bought that property for $945. There was another offer at $958. The person who offered $958 called me the next day saying, "Boss, I missed out on another one. I need your help." Yeah. And I told her I bought the property for $13,000 less than her. And she started crying, but
how to win friends and influence people. She certainly wants your services. Will do that for me.
Well, I've got an offer on another property for her. Look, it's just really understanding that it's not the market to try and shave off your deposit. It's not the market to try and put in all of these special conditions. I've had multiple clients come to me and they're like, "We've bought so many houses in the past. We've done all these things. We've done all these cheeky conditions, these sorts of things." And it's like, mate, if you've got two offers sitting at $950,000, one of them has a condition that says the contract's null and void because of if there's any evidence of a termite being in a property over the last 20 years, contract's null and void. The other one doesn't have that. You're accepting the one that doesn't have that condition. Yeah. And that's how we're able to set ourselves apart in amongst the 12 offers. They're sitting there and getting those right settlement conditions, right timeframes, those sorts of things. People just want simple, and a lot of people are upgrading, downsizing. It's fitting into their timelines. Like you mentioned, you had 21 days to move out of your home. If you had an offer and understood the settlement timeframes that was an 100-day settlement or a 120-day settlement, that would have been so much better for you to give yourself that time.
100%,
Yeah, but you didn't have two offers on your property.
No.
Yeah, and whereas at the moment, if you had 12 offers, you're taking the one with 120-day settlement because of your situation. Yeah. People don't look into that.
Yeah. They just think... And most people don't want to go back and forth with the person whole going... Like, it's just stressful, especially... For me, fine. You, fine. All of us probably fine. Yeah. Most people off the street, they don't want that crap. They sort of, take that one, sign it, let's go.
Yeah, well, they just get told, it's offers from one. Yeah. And they go and put in 1.08 and just hope it gets done with their standard 60-day settlements. They haven't talked to the sellers. They haven't talked to the people that are moving out of that home. They don't know what their next steps are.
Yeah.
To actually make that the best possible situation, because sometimes it's not the price. Sometimes it's the situation that comes off the back.
Yeah, we want to rent it back off you for a year or whatever. But if you don't ask...
Yeah, you don't know. And you can save yourself $50,000.
I think that's really relevant. I think the flip side of that as well is that you've got to look at it from the seller's mentality.
Yeah.
They've gone, okay, we're going to put the house on the market. They've had this whole... They're probably talking about for a year before they put it on the market. Yep. They speak to an agent or whichever and say, we want to put it on the market, and they're paying all those advertising costs because often it's vendor-paid advertising. Then they're going, okay, they had to tidy up this whole home. It's like you have a party. Will anybody actually rock up to my party? Yeah. It's like, will anyone going to buy it? Are we overpriced? Are we underpriced? Are we asking too little, too much? What are we doing? The agent's saying it's all good, it's all great, and then half of them are thinking, oh, we're overpaying the agent anyway, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they get this offer in and they're freaking out, and then their mind's going a million miles an hour, but they're also going, and the agent wants to sell it, so the agent's talking to them going, guys, if we don't buy this one, there might not be another one, or who knows, often the first offer you get is the best offer, all this stuff. Yeah. So clients are freaking out. So if they have something that is super easy for their lifestyle, plus they're also thinking, if we sell it now we have to pack up like crap and move out and the whole thing. Whatever their scenario is, and like you said, it could be any scenario, whatever is going to make their life easier to accept that is a beautiful thing. And it's a smart move, just... Find out.
Ask them what they want.
Yeah. What do you need? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
What I'm hearing is just the best strategy to actually, take the next step is just go speak to someone like Boston.
No, it's terrible idea. Terrible idea.
terrible
So
idea.
no.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? No, 100%. Yeah.
I think it's really good to have someone in your network that is in that world, so that when you're looking for a house and you got nothing, you don't know what you're doing, you have someone like Boston in your corner to go figure it out with you.
Yeah.
And I think it's super valuable.
Well, I said, and I agree 100% what you said. I agree. I've used the analogy before. I've had a friends of mine getting divorced or whatever. And, so we'll get legal help, mate. Like whether you're male, female, whatever, just get legal help because you don't know the game. You might think you know the game, but you don't know the rules. Like you try playing Monopoly and not knowing the rules. Like what are the dice for?
Yes,
like, what would you do?
your piece around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at buying a property and you have specific things in mind, why risk it? Like why, like we're talking like big dollars, especially in Perth these days. Why would you not pay a little bit to get the right advice, someone looking out for you? The agents are some of those agents are fully trained, seasoned, negotiate real estate agents that 100% you're up against Mike Tyson in a boxing match in his prime, trying to beat him, and you haven't had any training, and you're thinking, oh yeah, I bought a house 30 years ago, I know what I'm doing, and like you said, the Uber driver and the hairdresser's giving you all this advice, and you're going, not against anything about Uber drivers and hairdressers, they are very wise people, but I'm just saying, some of my clients are hairdressers. But my point is though that why not match it with someone who's experienced, knows what they're doing, and also looking out for you, and in fact, this is exactly our model with building. But you're looking at someone who's actually looking out for your needs. It's crazy not to do it, in my opinion, unless you know somebody who's selling their property and you're going to try and go back streets.
Yeah, and you have the access to the property that way, and you actually know what the property's worth and how to do the contracts and those sort of things. And the scariest thing in anything that you can do in your life is not knowing what you don't know, and missing out on those opportunities and seeing those properties and even those off-market opportunities that do come up, and maybe that right home you actually never see on realestate.com.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
No, absolutely.
And it's the same with buying your first property, or if it's been 30 years since you bought a property.
Yeah.
It's a totally different ballgame. And the game has completely changed. I've got a client who's looking to purchase a downsized property. He's got a lot of money to spend on a downsized property, but he bought his last home 20 years ago. He's done very well through real estate, and that's how he's built up his wealth. Yeah. Generational wealth.
Yeah.
And the conversations I'm having with him are trying to change his mindset around how to negotiate deals. And that's really where I'm stepping in is, look, how you bought a property 20 years ago is totally different. Yeah. Mate, we're looking at realestate.com.
Yeah.
That's, everyone's seeing the same property and they're all getting the same transparency. They're all getting the same numbers, those sorts of things. We had an offer at 3.1 on a property. I knew the selling agent. She told me there was an offer at 3.2. We could buy it today for 3.22. He said, I'm not dealing with a Dutch auction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, look, mate, this is what it is. It's not any sort of selling antiques, anything like that. You like the home. You want this home. Yeah. It's worth 3.3 on a square meterage basis, those sorts of things. Broke it down for him. I'm not just paying 3.22 because the selling agent told me to. No, we just got that transparency. She went back to the other offer, got 3.22.
Yeah.
And got the deal done with them. And when I told him, he said, mate, I would have paid 3.3.
Yeah, but
it's a totally different ballgame. Yeah. You could do that 20 years ago and play those games and those sorts of things, but you don't know what you don't know, and you aren't in these markets every single day.
But it's also dangerous. If you get rejected and you miss out on enough deals, then you get in this desperate mindset. And that's where it is dangerous, where you go, we really need this property. We missed out on the last four. Let's just go stupid. And you put in this crazy offer because the agent isn't going to tell you. A good agent's not going to tell you what they really want. And you go, okay, let's go way out. Let's go 200 grand, 250 over. And that's where you are getting burnt because your skill set might not be there where it needs to be, or you don't have the knowledge, but you're now getting, we're not going to get anything, this is terrible.
Yep.
And that's where you're in a dangerous area. And I've got clients that we're looking at the moment that I built a house for them before, that they've got more money now they want to spend. Their house is still awesome. They're going to get a great price on their house, but they're looking at other areas they want to get into. I should get them to talk to you actually. They're looking at getting into other areas around them, and they want to spend 3.5. They were looking around South Perth sort of areas. Mm-hmm. And it was funny. They actually goes, we're looking at buying this one. And they sent me this thing. I went, okay.
Yeah.
What do you like about it? It's 3.5. And I looked at it and go, what do you like about it? And I had asked them already, what do you want at home? And wrote a long list as always, do what are you looking for? And this ticked none of those boxes. None, except for probably location.
Yeah.
And I went, what do you like about it? And it was, oh, well, we really like, I went, this is totally wrong for you. Like, you're actually better off staying where you are, except for the location's still really good, but not as good.
Yeah.
But because this is totally wrong for you. But they're now in that desperate, we can't find anything we want, we really want to buy something. They're in this buyer's mode where they actually, one of the other homes they showed me, which was 2.2, I've gone, we can actually extend and renovate that, and that ticks every box you've got if we extend it. And that's with the extension. I looked at it, I said, you're looking at 800. We've done something similar to them before, showed what that was. And now we're at 3 million. So you're 500 grand better off, bigger block, better location, ticks every other box you've got in South Perth. And they've gone, yeah, that makes sense. It's like, but they're in that frenzy mindset.
Yeah, and it's so common. You see people get caught up in these emotional states and making these emotional decisions that being able to take a step back, and it's very different for us. We're doing this 24/7. This is our full-time job. These people are doctors, lawyers, working their full-time jobs and then spending the 30 minutes they get at home looking at realestate.com, looking at the messages we send them and saying this is what you should be doing.
It's like us Googling our symptoms of being sick to them, and they're going, the doctors are looking at you going, dude, like, come speak to me, I'm the expert. It's the same thing. So I can't go.
It's like me trying to do plumber work or something like that. And it's like,
it's not me.
It's not my priority, mate. It's in the number 20 on the list currently. But then they get 6 months into this and they're like, geez, we still haven't found a home. And they start making those emotional decisions and start thinking, we could kind of make this work. It kind of works. They like the concept of it.
Yeah.
They don't think about, okay, is this actually the best thing we can do? And it's hard to convey that. And that sort of confidence in those conversations. It takes a lot to sit down in front of someone and say, this actually isn't the home for you.
Yeah.
And this isn't right for what you're trying to do, because people get caught up in
the emotional side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we use the analogy, if you're going to go to court, get a lawyer. If you're sick, see a doctor. If you're going to climb Mount Everest, get a Sherpa. If you're going to buy property, get Boston.
That's
not normally my normal saying, by the way, but we're just sliding into
Usually if you build...
No, that's a daily, that's a daily saying.
Hey, look, we ask everybody a question when they come on board. I can't remember if I actually gave you a heads up on this one, but you're buying or renovating your home, whatever. Now, this would be an interesting one with you. Someone has gifted you, a distant relative, going, hey, here's a $10,000 check, but you must spend it on your house. What would you spend it on?
Currently, I'd spend it on my kitchen.
What do you do in the kitchen with it?
Entire kitchen reno.
Like, for 10 grand, it does not get you very far.
Does not get me a whole lot. No, I'd be looking at the cabinetry.
Yeah, I'm beautiful.
On the one arm in
Well, if you're investing in your own kitchen, there's far worse things to invest in, so that's a good move.
No, I've still got the original 70s kitchen in there. So
your kitchen's quite small. You might get away with quite a bit.
Yeah, small kitchens are cooler. You got like a one.
It's a little U-shaped.
It's like this big.
It's hard to say. No, it stretches pretty far.
It's a bit longer than that, but I reckon you get quite a bit done with 10K.
Quite a bit. I think total kitchen, I'll be looking at about 15 to 17.
Yeah, well, that's a different conversation we can chat about afterwards. Hey, Boston, thank you very much for coming on, mate. You've got a wealth of information. The fact that you're a buyer's agent, you're seeing property all day long. And the fact is, if anyone's looking at their own property or they're looking at, investment overseas, into states, whichever, but they're looking at buying in Perth, this sort of area here, your wealth of information, it doesn't hurt to have a phone call to you guys. And at Verve, you guys are the biggest, I think, you're the biggest agency out there, or pretty close.
So we've got two brands within the company. So we've got Verve Buyers Agency, which is focused on the home buying side of things. And we've got Folio Property, which is the investment arm, and we are expanding into Melbourne and interstate markets as well. So we've got quite a wide range of how we can service people, and just opening up those conversations to see what's best for them and who can help them.
Yeah, but reach out to you and you can put them in the right direction.
100%.
Awesome. Thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks, Bob.
Pleasure, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.